Yep, shockingly enough, it is almost Christmas, so it's time to start thinking about that outdoorsy person on your Christmas list. So here we are today with the 2024 list of stocking stuffers you might want to check out. All right, so this first one is pretty straightforward. Rarely do I actually go out and do hiking and backpacking where I carry a fixed blade knife. It's usually some little small folder, but in the event that I do, lately it has been this one. This is out of Ukraine. This is a stainless steel full tang offering from BPSKnives. As you guys can see, I have beaten this thing up and used it quite a bit. And so far it just keeps on ticking here. You can pick these things up for about $25. I have had zero complaints with this little knife whatsoever. I actually did a review on it quite some time back on the channel, and also did a secondary review on wet forming this sheath, because the sheath was a little snug, but with a little bit of wet forming, this thing is nice. It has lots of character to it. I enjoy taking this one out and about. All right. So it's always dangerous when we're out on the trailer and we run out of power on our cell phone, because we want to stay connected. So I know we often go through and we carry, kind of rechargeable battery packs and things like that. But in the event that those are dead, if you're taking out, like I know my child steals mine all the time, and I turn around and need it and it's gone. So went through and actually also picked up this Batterix power card. So this is a single-use item, and inside it you'll find this, which is pre-charged to 1600 milliamps, and you've got a connector for the old school lightning charges, and then also the C-style connectors. Like I said, it is a single-use item, but it's about the size of a credit card. I just toss it in my pack and forget it's there, but I know it's there for a rainy day. You can pick these up, this little battery bank, for about $18. Who doesn't like cooking over the campfire? Now, I enjoy a good meal over the fire, and for a while I had been looking for a little Bento style box to use. I found this offering from Fire Maple. I thought we had done a pretty good job on it. It's just the right size, fits into my kit nicely. You've got a little shelf in here to keep your food off the super hot surface if you want to keep it up and do some broiling and all of that fun stuff. I have used this thing really heavily. Try to keep it pseudo clean, at least on the inside. It's a little worse for wear on the outside here, but there's a little offering you can pick up off of their website right now. It's actually on sale for $18. It's normally, I think, about $26, $27, so right this moment they have it on sale. If you're like me and like paying attention to what the temps are doing outside, and especially when you wake up in the morning and it's been pretty chilly and you want to know how cold it was last night, this little AcuRite Thermometer, it goes through, it gives you the current temp, but then also gives you the low for the last 24 hours and the high for the last 24 hours. This thing you pick up for about $13, and I think over the last year I've changed the battery in it once, so it's got pretty good legs on it. It seems to run and last quite some time. Relatively durable. I've got a couple cracks in it here where I've slammed my back down on top of it, but so far it just keeps on measuring. Really digging this thing so far, and it's super light. It's got this sort of teardrop shape and comes with a carabiner, so I just hook it on my backpack strap and let it ride. Now this next item is a little bit pricier than the ones we've talked about so far. For the longest time I had been using the little Thermacell bug repellents for mosquitoes, but I always hated trying to track down and find the little butane cartridges. So when Flextail came out with their version of it, and I figured out that it was just rechargeable, I was really intrigued by it. It does have a, so you put the little repellent mats inside here that just look like these. So they just slide in. You've got a USB connector back here so you can charge it. It does have a magnet on the bottom, so if you need to stick it to something, that works as well. I've used this thing far more than I really anticipated. Plus, it has a lamp function, so it does double duty when I take it out camping. So this is my little lamp, and then it's also my bug repellent. This thing's been pretty handy. These sell for $43 right this minute. The little bug repellent mats, I have been ordering those offline. They're pretty cheap off the website. They just come in little blister strips like this. I haven't really seen them in stores lately like you do the Thermacells, but I have really very much enjoyed not having to try to chase down butane cartridges for the Thermo. So keeping with the theme of warm weather camping out, did a review on this one back in the summertime. This is the SmartDevil USB fan. This thing moves a ton of air in just a little bit of space. It does run off of your battery bank, so there's no heavy batteries to keep inside of here. You end up with 3 settings back here for different speeds. It is positionable. I actually have a little carabiner on here, so I hang this from my ridgeline in my hammock when I'm out. It moves a ton of air. does a pretty good job of help keeping you cool during the warmer months. So this little SmartDevil fan is actually super cheap on that side. It's about $12, and I have just used the wheels off of it so far, and it is holding up like a champ. Okay, so we're going from warm weather camping to cold weather camping and hiking. Run these little Ragwool gloves. I like the fingerless ones so that I can use my phone, even have my thumbs, I can creep those out of here, but when it's super cold outside, I use the flop overs. So this is, again, Ragwool. I picked these up off of Amazon. They're about $15, but they're incredibly warm. And so this is my glove of choice on most cold mornings. And continuing down the bougie, I'm gonna stay warm front. Not sure how they pronounce the company specifically, but they're just little down booties. I put these on when I'm getting ready to get in my sleeping bag when it's super cold outside. I was actually so impressed with them. I made the mistake of letting my wife try them out, and she almost took them away from me. So I had to order some of these for her, order them in red so that we could keep them apart. And you can pick these up for about $25 online. They stuff down into this little stuff sack. They're nice and small and portable. I usually just toss these in the foot of my sleeping bag whenever I pack it up after an outing, and I know next time I pull it out, they're in there for me. So I went hiking in North Carolina last Christmas when I was home, and the entire trail was just a blanket of ice. That was the second year in a row, and I figured after almost watching a guy slide off the top of the mountain when he hit a patch of ice overlooking this bluff, it's probably a good idea to start looking at some ice cleats. So I picked up these Yaktrax. They sell for about $25. I've only used them a couple of times. I used them mostly when I was back home, and was so far really impressed with them. Not like we get to use them here in Dallas a whole lot, but we have those occasional moments out there. But they're nice, light, so when wintertime comes, if I'm out hiking anywhere where it's remotely cold enough to be icy, these go in my pack, and sometimes I do pull these things out and use them. And so, like I said, they've been used a couple of times so far, mostly while I was home, but I'm digging on these so far. And for $25, I figured they were well worth it. Next up is one that's a little bit pricier. This one's going to run you about $40, and this is the Cash Cap from Wazoo. So go through in just a typical ball cap, but this thing comes with secrets, so let's check it out. So when I say this thing has secrets, this thing has secrets. It's relatively innocuous from the outside. About the only thing that even lets you know what it is the little logo on here. When you flip it over, I added this little compass on the back, which I'm going to replace this with a Suntoe Clipper compass. I was just trying to see if this was going to aggravate me to death. But when you flip it over, you got some high vis in here for signaling. You're starting to notice a handful of pouches in here. So I've got one up front here. I've got some little Band-Aids and small stuff in here. Over here on one side, I've got some water purification tabs. On the other side over here, I've just got like some little fire tinder that's sealed up inside. Up here in the front, I've got a sail needle. I've got a little ferro rod over here. In this main pouch right here, I have enough bank line in there for a ridge line. So in just a little bit of real estate here, which is really not noticeable at all when you're wearing the cap, you actually have a nice little survival kit on you at all times. Hey, before I forget to tell you, if you're interested in picking up any of these items, if you'll scroll down into the description on this video, we've got links to just about everything on the list out here, so swing down there and check them out. Now this has been a daily carry for me for about 6 months now. I was looking for a little bitty rechargeable light that would have a bill clip for a cap that's nice and bright. It's got a low, it's got a medium, it's got a bright, and if you click it quick enough, also get the strobe as well. When you get ready to recharge it, it just screws off on the back here, and when the battery comes out, it has a C-type connector on there. This little flashlight, this little EDC flashlight, I picked up for about $20. Did not know how to pronounce that. It's linked in the description below. I think it's Pyokin. This thing has been, for about 6 months now, it has been shoved in my front pocket, and it's just doing a bang-up job. It doesn't like a warm drink or a drink to warm you up while you're out and about on the trail. Not the lightest thing, but can you find anything more timeless than Stanley? This little flask here, you can usually pick up for about 10 bucks. They're not outrageously expensive, incredibly durable. Anytime I see these old green Stanley products, they remind me of my grandfather. Come in a variety of different colors and styles. I like the little green. Like I said, it makes me feel nostalgic. No one wants to admit sucking at lighting a fire, but I know there are those of us out there who are in that boat. If that's you, pull start fires. Usually comes in a little box like this. It's a box of 3. I think you pick these up for right at about $15. So there's 3 of these in this. It's like $5 per fire, which is pricey. But you literally just grab the red cord, grab the green cord, pull them apart, and you have a fire. It's kind of hard to go wrong with these things. No matches. They completely great in the wind, and it's going to burn just this little brick for about a half an hour. So no match needed. Literally, you just grab it, pull it, and let it ride. That's usually enough. If you cannot start a fire with this, you probably do not need to be in the woods. So this next one is actually a twofer because it is the Rite in the Rain pad and the Rite in the Rain pen. These two are going to keep you able to keep track of things, notes and fun stuff while you're out and about. I actually snatched a sheet out of this one the other day to leave a note to someone on the trail while we're out. The pads come in a variety of different sizes. This one, usually they're about 10 or 15 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood based on the size and how many pages you got. And the pens, you've got some that are more elaborate, some that fold, some that click, some that you have to pull the cap off of. This is just one that I've been carrying lately because quite honestly I can shove this in my pocket as well and it doesn't get in the way. So kind of between the two, probably about 30 bucks for these. But they're going to keep you guys writing regardless of what's going on. I can't harp on enough. This one I cannot harp on enough. And this is ratty and pulled all up, but it's because I use it. This is Luca Tape. I keep a couple foot of it on my trekking poles. I use this all the time for blisters or any kind of medical issues, whether I'm having to impromptu make a Band-Aid or something like that, or even just gear repair. You can pick this stuff up by the roll. It's usually about 10 bucks. I never carry the whole roll. I usually just toss about 2 foot on my trekking poles, and then when it starts to run low, I replace it. Super handy. Stuff goes on, it stays on, and it does not want to come off. We're in the time of year where, unfortunately, because it's getting colder outside, we're starting to see the stories of people expiring in their tents, trying to stay warm. This little CO2 monitor, I think I've had now for about 3 years. I change the batteries in it about once a year annually. Super light, super portable, and gives me a nice little sense of security. I've never actually had it go off on me, but I do try to leave things nice and vented. That doesn't mean I do not carry it and toss it in my shelters if I think I'm going to be closed up and actually trying to heat inside there. So for $10, I did not feel like I could go wrong with this. Next is an oldie but a goodie. This is that little Lucy solar recharging inflatable lantern. So just blow it up in here. I like the fact that I can recharge it from the field. You've got a couple different settings for how bright it's going to be, whether or not you're going to be strobing or doing the SOS. This one actually has a little red light function as well, which I really like with it because my last one did not. They hold up pretty darn well. Take a beating. They're soft and squishy and flexible. The last one where I broke it was I ripped the little connector off here for the hang. So I've tried to be a little more methodical and a little more careful with this one. These you can pick up for about $20 online. Like I said, they're cheap enough, durable enough, and I like the fact that I can just toss them out or toss them on the outside of my bag and let them charge throughout the day. Have a nice little run time on them, and they weigh next to nothing. Okay, this next one is a mouthful. This is the Atwood Rope Micro Ready Rope. I have no clue why the name's so big. This little carrier here, and it's got a little small micro thread on here, which I guess is where they get the micro from. They have a version that is just typical paracord too. Like the little holder here, you got a cutter on the end so it can help cut your cordage, holds quite a few feet, and then you also have a little hidden compartment down at the bottom, which I have stuffed with matches, which you can put whatever you want in there. Doesn't quite seem to fit a lighter, which I was kind of surprised by because it looks like it would fit a little micro lighter, but I could not get one squeezed in there far enough to actually get it closed. But having said that, this little keeper full of cordage is about $13 online, and it is, is this as strong as paracord? Absolutely not. They have a paracord version. I wanted more feet, less strength, so I went with this. So I'm good for impromptu ridge lines and sheltering while I'm out and about. Now next up is probably the item that when I have it with me out and about, I probably get the most comments on. And this is really not a stocking stuffer, but this is the one we're going to end the video on. It's a nice hat that actually has a little bit of character to it. And if you've not discovered Tilley, you should go check those guys out. Hats are not inexpensive. They usually run about $100 each, but the person on your Christmas list is going to appreciate these. Like I said, these things are full of character. So I have summer hats, and I also have winter hats. This was my first hat from Tilley, and also probably still easily my favorite from. This is my weekend hat. Kind of feel like Gilligan. I should be out looking for a wrecked SS Minnow from time to time. If you check their website, they often will have these hats on sale, and it's stuff that's like prior seasons. I think I paid $30 for this hat. Oh yeah, hopefully we gave you a handful of ideas for that outdoorsy person. Try to make things a little easier, try to break them up and give you some pretty wide categories on prices and functionality, so hopefully there's something out there for your person. Go out and enjoy the look, enjoy the view, and if you pick out one of the pieces of gear, hopefully you enjoy it as well. And as always, if you are out on the trail watching this right now, just remember, left foot, right foot, repeat. We'll see you out there soon.